This is the big issue on TV3Newday. Good morning to you. If you just tuned in, you're welcome. And of course, we're going to dissect all the topical issues. And so this is the place to be. We're also live on the STV channel 279. We're streaming live on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. This segment is proudly brought to you by Niche Chocolate and Niche Cocoa Drink. It's right in front of us. And so you go ahead and choose what you prefer, whether it is the 750 ml bottle or the Tetra Pak, or you want the sachet so you can mix it with hot water and you're good to go. No need for milk, no need for sugar. It still tastes just as good as any hot chocolate drink. Then definitely Niche is the way to go. They also have introduced the Niche chocolate paste mixed with peanut. And so you should give that a try as well, and I'm sure you will not regret it. If you're a fan of chocolates, then the Niche option is for you. You can either go for this gift pack that has all the flavors in there at once, or you can go for the bigger sizes. But again, it has all the flavors. But if you're health conscious, remember that dark chocolate is definitely for you. Niche is 100% Ghanaian owned, 100% pure cocoa right here from Ghana. Niche, taste of Ghana. My guests are here. It's time to introduce them. Issa Fuseni is a former MP for Okankwe North Constituency. Good morning. How are you doing?
Grace of God, very good.
When are we getting Issa's bites? Because it looks as if we might have to have,
I'll just do a challenge to join him. I would love to join him on his bite sometime, so just so I could have a take.
You want to join him when he's doing the bite?
Yes, when he's doing, so I could also have a take. I mean, some of the issues he brings up, though topical, I think we need to begin to react to some of them, because I think it's
so start your own bite. Why do you want to come and rain?
If TV3 will give me that opportunity, every morning I'm going to be here to do his bite.
Buy airtime.
We'll discuss that. I'm sure Francis, I'm sure Mr. Doku is listening, and I have a very.
I know what Mr. Doku will say. That's what I'm saying it ahead of time. He'll tell you to buy airtime.
So I'll talk to Mr. Doku.
I hear you. Anyway,
Mr.
Doku is here, so he's an energy expert. And should I say incoming president? Hello, incoming.
Incoming, yes.
Incoming, eh?
Incoming.
How's it looking?
It's looking very well.
Yeah?
Very, very well.
Okay.
I keep saying this looking very well, and Johnny was asking me the other day, are you going to be like Dunda says, look at my people?
But Issa, what's your problem?
Well. I thought you were going to say president of some association or something, but you just ended up president, so I presume it's going to be president of Ghana.
You don't know that he has intentions of running for presidency?
It's news to me.
Oh, you don't know?
I'm just learning.
You don't know?
You learn something new every day.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
I wish you will. I wish you will.
You could be sitting next to your next president.
Maybe you should start lobbying for vice presidential position.
When you get there, remember me.
You should start being nice to me.
Remember that we were on set one morning.
Mr. Fred Agbenyo is also here, and he's a deputy international relations manager for the NDC. Do you also have any plans of running for presidency or something?
I didn't even know my brother is
You also didn't know?
No, he didn't.
Where have you both been?
I'm surprised.
He launched this interest. Exactly, in February.
You didn't tell me. You didn't know about it.
Will you vote for him?
Thank you,
I
Fred.
wish you were.
Thank you,
I
Fred.
You haven't answered the question.
I belong to a party.
So you vote
I'll try and
for...
rope him
Or
in.
maybe if he's your brother and you...
Let me tell you something. I'm the only
Robin
person, if I become the candidate of MPP, more NDC will vote for me than they'll vote for NDC.
How sure are you about
If
that?
you become the candidate of NPP,
Fred will vote for me as president.
Are you by extension saying
Even
that you're an
Issa
NPP
is
member?
not sure.
I have declared my intention. It's not a secret.
But it's not a secret, is it?
that I have declared to run on the ticket of the MPP. It's not a secret.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's no way I can vote for you.
You can't vote for him,
there's no-
even if you identify with his policies and
No,
his
no.
ideology.
Once you're NPP.
But you're my brother. You vote
No,
for
no,
your
no.
brother.
you see, that's a
No, no,
problem.
But is it not about Ghana
That one-
first?
No.
That is the
For you,
problem
it's
of this
party
nation.
first.
No, it's not about party, about the philosophy, it's about ideology. I don't believe.
That's what I'm saying. That what if you
I
identify with those?
He is going to run on a political philosophy that I don't believe in. And I
okay.
cannot associate myself with that philosophy.
I would say
cannot
countries like
vote for that.
Nigeria and Kenya don't have political ideologies and philosophies.
But
Because in Nigeria, it's very easy to form a party.
But
The
Nigeria,
APC,
they
look
vote
at how
more
the APC
based
came
on
around.
And what does
tribal
it produce?
lines
What does it
than
produce?
any other thing.
Look at what
Tribal
happened. What is
politics.
happening
Yeah.
in Kenya?
What
I
does it
mean,
do? It's purely
existing
tribal
president
politics,
supporting-
really.
But in Ghana, the lines are so drawn that.
So maybe you all can
So
help
Fred, are
us
you not going to
change
vote
it.
for me as a president?
I cannot. I don't
You cannot,
believe in your
or you
philosophy.
won't.
Issa,
I
are you
cannot.
trying to tell us that you have intentions of running for president somehow?
People are
I'm
declaring
sitting
their
here
ambitions.
today.
I'm just asking.
He's a former MP, so
I'm sitting here today by the grace of God for what we are. You never know.
Oh, so
You never know. You never say never in politics. I mean,
see.
you never say never.
Okay, we're waiting for it.
In this political power, when you declare your intentions very early, they will kill you at
But you
birth.
never say
Oh,
never.
but Kojo is not dead. He's still alive.
We all know that well. I wish him well.
What do you mean by you all know that?
Let me reserve my comments.
I'm a heavyweight. You can't kill a heavyweight.
Anyway,
I know.
well, talking about heavyweights, there's one within the NPP who has, you know, by way of action, clearly shown that there is some problem within the party that needs to be resolved. But whichever way, she was absent for about a year. For no reason. Of course, the Privileges Committee had tried to reach out to her. We didn't see her make an appearance, but she did speak to the media and explain that her child had been sick, which is why she needed to take that break. Eventually, after pressure was mounted on the president, he relieved her of her position as Minister for Gender. And about 2-3 weeks later, she has responded, and she says that she takes that in good faith. In fact, it will afford her the opportunity to focus more on the 75,000 constituents within the Dom Kwabena constituency who need her at this moment, and so that's what she'll focus on. But interestingly, a political science lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Jonathan Asante-Otre, says that the leadership of the NPP must rethink their strong stand against the Dom Kwabena MP, Adwoa Safo. As you all know, after the Privilege Committee sitting, the majority side did indicate that they want her seats declared vacant, even though the minority do not agree to that because they want to hear her side of the story. But let's listen to what this lecturer had to say, and we'll get a view from guests in the studios.
Adwoa Safo is really spot on. She's a tactful politician. You know, I indicated that whoever advised her to write a letter in that tone is very shrewd and a good politician for that matter. The tone of the letter is quite reconciliatory, and she's tactfully ensured that she does not incur the displeasure of the leadership of the party, as it were. There are others who think that she has certain information that is virtually what kept her on as a minister. And if that is the case and she's written something of that sort, I think that she's coming in with an olive branch. Now, that aside, her behavior and the letter has equally or will equally unsettle the minority as it stands now, because it is only time will tell if the letter, the tone of it is a sincere one. We are yet to see whether, yes, she's not going to caucus with the minority. She will still caucus with the majority. But when it comes to voting and other things, probably if it's a secret one, nobody can tell. And that will also be informed by the position going forward of the majority, whether they still want her out or they will also accept the olive branch that she's brought. If she's going to stand independent, then the NDC will back her. And because it is tactically prudent that they back Adwoa Safo to win, you know, because she's going to get sympathy vote. The economy is not good, and so people are really disgruntled and angry. You have many MPP faithfuls who wouldn't go and vote because they wouldn't want to vote for the NDC candidate. And so it is very dicey. The other thing too is that if she contests as independent and you have an MPP and NDC decides to contest, there is more likelihood that the NDC will scale through, because you will still have the disgruntled members who are against the status quo, and then you will have those who are opposed to her. They will have a split, and then the NDC candidate will sail through. Other than that, I think I will advise the MPP to tone down, because the economy is not good, and it's not a good time to have, you know, a by-election on your hands. They will lose miserably.
The NPP should tone down. The economy is not good, and this is not the time to have a by-election because the NPP could lose miserably. Do you agree, Isa?
Bella, good morning again, and good morning to the good people of Okaikwe. The issue of Honorable Sarah Adwoa Safo has been flogged for quite a while. And I have always been very careful. I mean, having gone through the process of going to Parliament myself, I think it's going to be scary if we start off the practice of being able to declare seats vacant, because Parliament as an institution is still grappling with what is right and what is not right, processes that can lead to the declaration of a seat vacant and all of that. To the extent that we expect that the Speaker, like he promised, will give his ruling when Parliament reconvenes. In the meantime, I've heard people also trying to seek interpretation of what the Constitution says, and to an extent the standing orders of Parliament. It is refreshing to know that the honourable member of parliament, unless until the seat is declared vacant, she still is a member of parliament. It's refreshing to know that she is, should I say, staging a comeback. It's quite refreshing, I should say.
Okay.
But we should all proceed with caution. I'm not too sure what can be done in parliament, given the extent that the Privileges Committee actually produced a report, and there was a digression as to the stance of the majority, who thought that, well, once the Privileges Committee had determined that she didn't have a good case to abstain herself from Parliament for a while, the decision had been made, and so Parliament should go ahead and declare the seat vacant. Yeah. The minority, on the other hand, thought that once the report is presented by the Privileges Committee, it has to be subjected to, a motion being moved, a debate, and subsequently a ruling by plenary. And it's where we got to before Parliament went on recess. This new development is also going to bring another angle to this whole...
How so?
How so? Because we recollect that the Privileges Committee made a lot of overtures to the honourable member, but she couldn't avail herself, one reason or the other, including at the time when they had even agreed that they were going to have her do a presentation on Zoom and all of that. All of that couldn't really come to fruition. In Parliament, for what I know in Parliament, when you are on recess, even when you have to leave the jurisdiction, you have to leave a forwarding address. And I mean, Parliament tried all of these options, and it still couldn't. They still couldn't reach her for her side of the matter. Now that I don't know whether she's already in the jurisdiction or she's making plans to come.
Well, we're told that she's been around for some 5 weeks.
She's been in Ghana.
We're told so.
For 5 weeks.
Yesterday, her PA was interviewed about it, and he did not deny that.
Parliament went on recess. It's not been 5 weeks since Parliament went on recess. So if she was around, then it was a very... If she was around, then it was going to be... but now that, I mean, she has started talking to the media and making presentation about her willingness to continue with her job as a member of Parliament, I think that all of this should be taken into consideration.
But it's not only about her willingness. She knew what the standing orders in Parliament were. And she was still absent, we're told, for about 42 sittings. In fact, she had the most, days that she was absent in Parliament. That's against all the other 33 that were declared absent at one point in time or the other. And I've listened to the majority leader. He was here and he says that, in actual fact, it is not up to the members of Parliament to debate after the Privileges Committee has sat and put out a report.
Exactly the point.
Once the majority has declared, and of course, when it comes to majority, the majority of people who voted for or against whatever motion, once they say we want the seat declared, all the speaker has to do, or the clerk has to do, is to send a letter to the Electoral Commission declaring that this is a decision by the Privileges Committee. Her seat must be declared vacant. And so this whole back and forth about let's wait for the speaker to come back to Parliament to tell us what he thinks after going to seek some counsel, it doesn't hold. You see, because the right thing should have been to declare her seat vacant.
Anytime Parliament makes such a ruling, it becomes a convention to an extent, and it becomes a precedence. And so we have to be very careful. I mean, you get into Parliament because the people in the constituency have decided that you represent them. And so for someone else outside of the constituency to have the power to be able to remove you, it should be grounded in law.
Is it not? Which is why your side
you
is
see,
saying that
you see, I still understand and I perfectly agree with what the majority stance is, because it is not the only situation where a committee of Parliament makes a decision and it's binding on Parliament as a whole. I was on the Finance Committee in the 7th Parliament. There are circumstances where the Finance Committee could decide, based on certain public funds, could decide to allow the minister to make disbursement even before the matter comes to plenary. And it's constitutional. It is legit, right? So in this case, the majority is taking a stance that, look, once the work of the Privileges Committee was to determine the reasonableness of the excuse of the ordinary member. So once the Privileges Committee decided that her excuse, or I mean, in her case, they couldn't even reach her to determine the reasonableness or otherwise of her absence in Parliament. Then a decision had been made, and so all the Speaker needed to do was to forward that decision to the EC and declare the seat vacant. That's the stance of the majority. On the minority too, I don't want us to also determine that what the majority is saying, because they keep referring to instances like what we had in the Amwatem case, where, I mean, the seat was kept vacant for a very long time. I mean, it is all, but my fear is that if Parliament as an institution is able to remove a member of Parliament who is there to represent a constituency, it is a precedent that we have to be careful. And so I hope and pray that, given the new developments, the Speaker is going to take all of that into consideration in arriving at whatever decision he promised us he was going to make when Parliament.
What do you think? Should she be removed or not?
It is not for me to. It is
well,
not,
it doesn't matter. You're Ghanaian at the end of the day.
It is not relevant what I think.
Her constituents don't think that she should remain as the MP.
What I think, if the constituents think that she should not remain as MP, I don't know who is done that work that shows that the constituents don't want her anymore. I don't know.
Well, the media has spoken to them.
That is why people or MPs have to go back to their constituents every 4 years to renew their mandates.
Okay.
It is not perpetual when you are voted as a member.
So you think that once she says she's back and she's ready to do her job as an MP, they should allow her to go ahead with that?
Essentially, what I'm saying is that the new developments in the matter should also be taken into consideration.
Okay.
I don't know whether the majority stance is going to shift since she has availed, or she has intention of availing herself to take up her elected position. I don't know whether it's going to change, but I think that the precedents that we are setting, we should actually proceed with caution.
Should the majority members in Parliament slow down a bit? Because there's been a study that was conducted sometime April this year, and it showed that, in actual fact, the constituents, even though now they are peeved and they're saying that we don't want her anymore because of what she's done, if there should be an election again, Adwoa Safo is likely to poll some 50.3%. So she's likely to retain her seat as MP. But if for some reason she doesn't run again, and now we've had names like Michael Quay Jr. being the likely person to run on behalf of the MPP within that constituency, as against someone like Eli Plim, who ran back in 2020, then it's likely the NDC could snatch this seat from the NPP. What do you think the majority should look at this point?
I think it's a multifaceted of issues. And I think all of them should be done in parallel. What is going on in Parliament is an institutional process. The MPP is a stakeholder because the parliamentarian ran on the ticket of the MPP. Then the constituents that she represents also has a stake because she represents them. Every parliamentarian is what you call a people's representative. Whilst the majority in Parliament, the process is going on legal, as my brother said, whether or not they will now follow the due process, let's leave that. But I think the missing link is that the party is not engaging extensively in the constituency to find out what they want. Because my brother asks, has anybody done that? Aside media going in there to talk to them, that's not the issue. The constituents, she represents the constituents. Has anybody taken time to consult the party leadership at the constituency level?
Yes,
the delegates.
I can tell you it is.
They have. In fact, the party leadership has been speaking, and they feel slighted by
the party. The national. See, there are two sides of the leadership. There's the national leadership and there's a constituency leadership.
Yes.
The constituency leadership goes on from the delegates all the way, the polling station executives, all the way to the constituency executives. Now, what is their position on this matter?
They feel disrespected.
Yes, so I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. What is their position? That's what I'm saying, that there should be a few processes in parallel, right? Before anybody makes a decision, the most important thing, that's why people are saying that, look, we could lose the seat, blah, 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 blah. Look, we need to find out what the delegates in the constituency want. She represents them.
Okay.
If they don't want her, you can't force her on them. So if they don't want her and the constituents feel that, look, it's gotten to a point where we don't feel we have representation, then the party has to now, the national executive of the party has to make a decision with the constituency, what do we do?
Okay.
That is separate from what the parliamentarians are doing. That is informed when the parliamentarians get to the point where Parliament as an institution feels that she has broken some rules and she has to leave. I believe strongly that we should have due process. Institutions should work. when we always do this thing where we look at faces and individuality of issues to now bend the rules a little bit, it has cascaded effects.
Okay.
So we should always go down the middle and make sure fair is fair. If the standing order says that this is what it is, let's go with it and go. But whilst that is ongoing, we should basically do that constituency thing well. Because my checks tells me that there are deep-seated issues in the constituency.
Okay.
This does not start with Adwoa leaving for abroad. You know what I mean? So there are deep-seated issues in the constituency. And that is an issue that the national executive and the constituency executive should sit and resolve.
What are these issues? If you don't mind divulging.
It's not for me to put out.
Okay. But there are problems.
But there are issues that started way before she was elected, after she was elected. There are issues in the constituency. That's what I'm saying. That when my brother says that if they know, the national executive should sit with the constituency executive and make that decision whether was the way forward. Do we plan for a by-election, and if we plan, what are the situations that we need to put in place? The party should be ahead of the game. We don't have to sit, okay, for the parliamentary to make that decision before the MPP now have their dots in line. The MPP should have their dots in line before the parliamentarian situation erupts. So in any case, for me, I think that both situations should run in parallel. That issue in the constituency need to be addressed. But
are we at a point in our economy where we can afford to even run a by-election?
Well, look, by-elections, constituency elections has its own dynamics. Normally, in the general national situation feeds into, but there are also some dynamics at the constituency level that comes to play. So it's not always the case that because there's a bad situation nationwide, it would necessarily affect. Yes, it has a risk factor in the overall perception in the constituency. But the most important thing is that if the constituency executives, the foot soldiers, they believe that, look, we don't think she represents us, we think we can win this election, we can go door to door and convince people to win this election, then by all means, let's do that. But it should be a Dominic decision. If we don't do that, we will in the long term lose that constituency anyway, because then the foot soldiers who are the party loyalists will feel that they've been done by. And we've seen instances where people who the party feels should run has run and independents have won.
Yeah.
So that equation is very important.
And that's the other dynamic as well, because there are concerns that if she even decides to run as an independent candidate, that could also spell doom for the MPP, because
she cannot win. No,
it either means she could win or there'll be split votes for the MPP.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If somebody goes to the constituency and does a good internal research and find out how popular or unpopular she is, then that feeds into the decision.
Okay.
If she's very popular, then you now have a situation where you need to go back to her and say, look, try and smoke a peace pipe with her. But if the constituents don't feel like she represents them and they feel they can win the seat without her, then you also make that decision.
But you don't think that if she runs as an independent, she can win?
No, she can't.
You don't think so?
No, if she runs as an independent, like what the political science person said might come true, because then she only coming in to split the MPP and the neutral
But
votes.
What if the NDC throws their weight behind her? Well, that could also be a factor.
I have not looked that far. Okay. But what I'm saying is that her as a person run as an independent in that constituency, she might not win, but what she would do is probably split the MPP vote and get somebody else to win.
I'll bring Fred in shortly, but just a quick one. So if you look at the last paragraph of her letter, she said that, cognizant of my duties to the 75,000 constituents who elected me, this development is opportune and will afford me more time to concentrate on my parliamentary responsibilities and constituency engagements. You get a sense that then running as, a minister, side-by-side MP, that was getting in the way of her ability to run as an MP effectively, and so maybe this was a good time for her to now focus on being an MP.
Well, no,
so maybe she should have resigned in the first place to avoid all this. A
lot of people, look, she lives in Accra. Dominic Kwabena is down the road. People lives in Wale and lives in Accra and doing very well in their constituency. Parliamentary work is multifaceted. Everybody, parliament. Most people are fortunate to live in the constituency and go to parliament. Some people live very far and they have to go every Friday and go and try and do constituency work. So I don't think being a parliamentarian interferes so much. Some people, yes, it does interfere with them. So look, Adwoa has a few circumstances. We should understand the circumstances she's in. Okay? She's a mother, she has, and we all heard about the situation that she has to go abroad and all that. So we should take all those things in context.
Which is why people were expecting that she would have resigned as a minister at least, since she said that she was facing some domestic issues and had to take care of her child. At least resign and allow someone else who's capable to run that ministry while you are away.
Yeah, possible. But what I'm saying is that, look, these are not issues that we can individually be able to, we can only empathize, okay? We can't be able to say that, look, we understand what's going on. Empathy is the only thing we can do.
Yeah.
Let's give the benefit of the doubt. But my thing is that proper consultation needs to be done. The consultation has to be at the national party level, the constituents who she represents, they should basically be consulted extensively, and her situation, minus take away what Parliament is doing as an institution in the due process.
Okay, Fred, is the minority probably reconsidering the position that they took, you know, with regards to Adwoa Safo and having her seats declared vacant? Because I remember that they had said that until we hear from her, which is the law of natural justice, we should not declare her seat vacant. Is that going to change?
Well, Bella, thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. I am just wondering why you brought two MPP people here against me alone.
He's here as an energy expert. I just brought this
my brother
up.
Kojo as an energy expert. Kojo has just declared on this set.
Kojo is an energy expert. He's here because of the issues concerning tariff increments, which is what he's here to speak on.
So introduce him as such.
We threw this
that
in.
My brother Kojo, I am NDC's MPP, and that we have two MPP on set. Then we can proceed. Now, Article 97.
No, Fred.
Oh,
no, Fred.
Let's not go into that.
No, Fred. I think that we should look at it.
He's not being fair. You're not being fair, but
I'm not being fair because I am here to represent the new patriotic party.
Let me tell you, Kojo was brought here because of the conversation about tariffs. Which is why we brought him. We threw in this issue of Adwoa Safo because it is right.
In his submission, they said we are going to look at
your...
We are.
But there is no... But hold on. Fred. No. You brought this up. Let's address it.
Okay.
You brought this up. Let's address it.
I think I can't hear you because your book is on the table.
Let me repeat then.
No, you don't need to repeat. We've heard what you said. Carry on. I asked you a question.
Fred,
I asked you a question.
You brought this up. Let's address it. There is no doubt in this country that I am planning to run a ticket of the MPP.
Yes.
My work as an energy expert and as a civil society participant has never been in doubt.
That's true.
That is why I'm on this.
That is true.
But the point is that the discussion that we are having has got nothing to do with. Look, we are educating Ghanaians.
I agree.
Exactly. So there was no point in bringing.
I'm only saying that Bella should admit that they brought two MPP people against one NDC.
I will not admit that. I brought Kojo in, and the producers brought Kojo in as an energy expert.
And he has accepted
how does that change
Kojo is here as an energy expert. Let's talk about Adwoa Safo because this transcends party colors.
Article 97. No, he said we in his presentation. That is why.
But that's what I'm telling you, that there are a lot of people out there who may not belong to NDC or MPP, but they also have an opinion on this matter. So carry on.
Article 97, Clause 1C. A member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament. C. If he is absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker and is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continue to meet, the person is supposed to appear before a privileges committee. If he's not able to offer a reasonable excuse, that is when the committee can take a decision on the person. That's what the Constitution is saying. As we speak today, Adwoa has not appeared before the privileges committee.
Because she has refused to?
We cannot say she has refused to. Assuming she was sick or she was in the hospital, she cannot move, she cannot respond to their messages. How do you accuse her? As we speak today,
but if you see her on social media,
of Parliament.
You see her on social media.
People do all manner of
Is that not enough reason?
It is possible.
Knowing that the privileges committee had gone beyond the usual
possible those videos and pictures you see on social media were taken long ago, and somebody decided to put them out there now. That is a possibility. The point I'm saying is that the Constitution is saying you must appear before a privileged committee. You must be able to convince the committee that, yes, I was absent, but on reasonable grounds. If they are convinced, they allow you to stay. If you don't appear before them to make your case, how do you make a determination on the person?
Right. Now, if you listen to the Privileges Committee, and if you listen to what they have to say, Kukuri Kitagan has been speaking. He said that they literally exhausted every means of trying to reach out to her. In actual fact, when she spoke to Joy News, they got in touch with her and asked him that how was she able to speak to them? And he said, well, they went through me. I gave her that information. She agreed. So they also channeled another notice through him to her. He says he delivered it. As to whether she'll make an appearance or not, he could not guarantee. So you don't think that they had exhausted every means of trying to reach her?
Bella,
and so that should be enough grounds for them to make a decision, because they could say that she refused to make an appearance?
If the information you have and what you have put out is anything to go by, address in the country.
I haven't put this out. It is Kukurik, it's Hagan.
No, not this particular
Okay.
one. You said earlier that address in the country has been in the country for the past.
I said we've heard that she is in the country.
That's what I'm saying, that if that information is true, if Adwoa is back in the country, can the privilege committee now, if they return back, they return back to the house, give her the opportunity to appear before them to explain herself?
Okay. You think that should be done?
I think that we should allow her to come and explain herself why she refused to either appear before them. She refused to acknowledge all the invitations that were given to her before the decision is made about whether she will remain in Parliament or the seat should be declared vacant. But at this point, I don't know why we seem to be in case. I think that I don't know if there's any provision in the Constitution that says that the people who give you the mandate must be the ones who rise up and say we are passing a vote of confidence in you, or to be able to take some steps to be able to remove from Parliament. Because it was alluded to by all, Adwoa was voted into Parliament as a group of people. She's representing the people. As we speak now, the people have not come out in totality to say that we don't want her again because of ABCD. It is Parliament that is using the administrative structure system that they have now to say that no, you've been absent for 15 days, you didn't obtain permission, and so we invited you for privilege committee, you couldn't appear for whatever reason we don't know as of now, and based on that, people think that Speaker to write to EC for the seat to be declared vacant. I think that we should have put a provision in the Constitution that says that those who gave you the mandate, if they feel that you are not exercising that mandate to their satisfactory, they then can initiate steps to have you removed from Parliament, but to give that discretion to Parliament. Because don't forget, during the time that this issue was given to the Privilege Committee, I think 3 MPs were to appear for the committee. 2 appeared. So they gave a reasonable excuse. They've been left off the hook. She couldn't appear. We are aware to speak today that 1 MP has been on the sick bed for only God knows how long. He doesn't go to Parliament for several months now. He's not representing his people, right? And yet, because we are aware he's sick, he might have written to Speaker to tell Speaker that I'm sick, I cannot be in Parliament, so nobody say anything about it. But his constituents who are lacking that representation in Parliament. And so, but they don't have any means of saying that maybe this man is not going to recover anytime soon. Can we set him aside?
No, but maybe they're working through the party leaders within the constituency, which is what these party executives in Dom Kwabinya had said, that they felt disrespected because they had even reached out to her trying to find out why she had been absent for that long. They weren't able to get any information from her. And all of a sudden, she's up and saying that I'm back, I'm the MP, I'm going to take up my role. Who is she going to work with? Because you need that cohesion. And at this point, it's broken.
Well, that is for the party itself to decide. The party members can look at that. But once you become a member of Parliament, for me, it goes beyond just the party. Now you are representing a whole constituency. Now you are working for Ghana in Parliament. And so whatever disagreement she may have with the constituents or the party structure, that is an internal issue that they can look at. But they cannot use their internal issue, or they cannot impose their internal whatever difficulties they have on the entire nation, on the entire constituency. Don't forget, if you go to a particular constituency, it is not only MP people who voted for Adwoa or who made it the MP. As of now, she has won. She's representing everybody who lives in that particular constituency. And so we need to seek the view of all of them. It cannot be limited to only the MP people who reside and who vote in that constituency. What about the C people who are there? What about the independent people who are there? What about the MP people who are there? Have we sought their views? Are they also interested in getting her out of Parliament?
Okay.
The people you claim that the media has spoken to, who said that she has disrespected them, who are they? Are they just NPP people?
The NPP party constituency secretary is one of the people who has been speaking.
But the woman goes beyond just NPP constituency executives. She's not a member of Parliament for the constituency. What is the minority? Those who didn't vote for her.
Should we look at this position that the minority has taken on just a surface level, or is there more to this? Because there are even concerns that if she decides to even run for independent candidate, the NDC can decide to even throw their support behind her because they may have some interest in all of this.
We have not discussed anything of that nature at any meeting that will throw away behind. We have candidates from that particular area. We have NDC members over there. We have considered that guys who can qualify to contest on the seat of NDC. Adwoa has never been an NDC member.
No, but if her seat is declared vacant, I mean, I can just imagine the minority saying that that was unfair because we felt she had not come to the Privileges Committee to explain to them why she had been absent, so she was not treated fairly.
That's the point I am making. That, yes, invitation was extended to her for whatever reason, she couldn't honor that particular invitation. Thank God we are told that the woman is in the country. Can we allow her now to appear for the privilege committee to make a case?
Okay.
If at the end of the day, the case that she makes is not reasonable to the committee, and the committee still think that the place should be declared vacant, then we can proceed from there.
Okay.
But up until that time, I think it will be very unfair now to just take a decision because invitation was extended, she couldn't respond to the invitation. People claim they are seeing pictures of her on social media, and so she's acting.
So if she's not available for a whole year, we're still going to sit down and wait and say that we need to hear from her.
What about the MP who is sick, who has not been available?
Well, we don't know if he has written consent from the speaker or not, so we cannot say that for a fact in this case.
At least in Adwoa's case,
there was not. But that's why it was forwarded to the Privileges Committee. The speaker himself had said
but I'm saying that
he did not give any written consent.
Maybe after that, has he written after that? We don't know. So we are all just speculating.
That's what I'm saying. That it's going to take a whole year for her to make an appearance before the Privileges Committee.
I don't think it will take a whole year.
What if?
Well, I'm not too sure. To the extent that now she has responded to the dismissal by the president, and she has even
that's the thing. She
pledged a
responds
commitment to serve the people.
The president responds to the media, but does not respond to Parliament.
Well, I think it's a process. Maybe she's going to do that. And let me say that we don't have any particular interest. Can I just land on this place?
You let him land quickly.
No, don't say that. We don't have any particular interest in this.
You don't.
We are only praying that the wrong president is not set. The wrong president is not set by Parliament. That maybe, see, before this particular issue was given to the Political Committee to look at the 3 MPs, we all heard and we saw what was going on in Parliament. That the target was not necessarily the regional minister and Honorable Kennedy Adwoa from the MPP side. Their target was the Safo.
Why would they make
I don't know.
Their target?
I don't know why they were targeting there. We all were.
And you know that for a fact that she was their target, or you are just assuming?
I am not assuming, but we all heard all this.
Whose target?
Why would they? Yeah, but why would they target?
Why would
Honorable
they target?
Listen, they present 3 names. Their target, they know that the other two, whichever way.
What is the target?
Based on what? I mean, based on what? You should have some facts to back what you're saying, that the focus was on Adwoa Safo and not the other two.
The fact that the woman is not in the country alone is a problem for them. The fact that the woman is not coming to Parliament to help them take whatever decision they have to take is a problem for them. And as far as they're concerned, they want the woman removed. Don't forget, we even heard issues about the fact that when the woman was made a minister, some concerns came up that she said she wants to go back to Parliament and be a deputy majority leader.
But those were allegations.
All those allegations.
Okay.
Just allow me to land, please.
Okay, please land, Fred. We don't have time. We have to move on to our next topic.
So the point I'm making is that at least fair justice, Adwoa Safo is back in the country, if that is true. Let her appear before the police committee.
Okay.
Let us listen to her. If whatever excuse she has to offer is not reasonable, then we can proceed from there. But this is to get the woman removed at all costs. For me, I don't know what the agenda is.
Okay. We have to take a break, but just a minute on this.
But for the numbers that we have in Parliament today, this would not have been an issue. In the 7th Parliament and previous Parliament, it wouldn't have been an issue. It's always been the interest of the NDC. Look, let that seat remain. Let her be absent so that we can take advantage of the situation in Parliament. Simple. That's a strategy.
They want the seats to be vacated?
It won't be declared, but the MP is not around to be taking part in parliamentary proceedings.
Because you think it feets into their agenda?
It fits into their agenda, given the numbers and situations we have in Parliament today.
Okay, we hear you. Anyway, we'll shortly get into the conversation about tariffs and why it has increased. In fact, the stakeholders have, diverse opinions about whether it should be increased, whether it should not be increased. Ghana Hotels Association does not even agree that, electricity bills should be increased at all. Why is that so? We'll be back to explain further. Keep watching. This is the big issue on TV3Newday. Welcome back. It's still the big issue on TV3.